When rain hits a typical city, the routine is predictable. We retreat indoors and watch the gridlocked streets slowly turn into temporary rivers. But think about what happens if you take that minor disruption and stretch it out. Imagine if that heavy downpour simply didn't stop for 3 straight months. That is the baseline reality in Mawsynram. Sitting at an altitude of 4,600 feet in the Indian state of Meghalaya, a name that translates to home of clouds, this village is entirely swallowed by the clouds rolling through the valley. This chart visualizes exactly what it means to be the wettest place on Earth. While an average human stands under 6 feet tall, Mawsynram receives 11,400 millimeters of rain annually. That forms a towering water column over 37 feet high, and the intensity is only increasing. In 2022, this region took on a staggering 3 feet of water in just 24 hours. That is more rain in a single day than a city like Delhi receives in an entire year. Living inside these fast-moving weather systems creates a disorienting environment. Thick mist pushes through so quickly that buildings and people vanish in seconds. It forces a very practical question. When your physical world is constantly obscured by mist and battered by an unending flood, how do you actually build a functioning society? This map shows the engine behind the anomaly. During the monsoon season, massive, highly humid wind currents form over the Bay of Bengal and follow a direct northern trajectory toward the Indian subcontinent. If we zoom into the topography of northeast India, we can see the bottleneck. Mawsynram sits directly in the crosshairs of those humid winds, completely backed by the towering elevation of the Khasi Hills. This creates a textbook example of a process called orographic lift. The incoming moist air hits the mountain slope and is forced violently upward. As it rises, it cools and condenses rapidly, dumping 70% of its annual moisture payload right onto the village in one concentrated seasonal burst. Mawsynram functions as a permanent geographical trap, where the absolute physics of the landscape makes this deluge unavoidable. Because you can't turn off a mountain's weather system, the local Khasi community has had to engineer their entire existence around it. Out here, daily labor and farming cannot be paused just because it's pouring. This creates an immediate logistical problem. Tending to crops for 3 solid months of rain requires both hands. If you're gripping a standard umbrella, you cut your physical working capacity in half. The solution is a piece of local technology known as the kunup. It's a specialized turtle shell-like umbrella woven from bamboo. Instead of being held, it anchors directly to the head and back, leaving the wearer's arms completely free to handle agricultural tools. And the design has evolved. Traditionally layered with broad leaves, modern kunups are now sealed with sheets of heavy plastic. When the severe hailstorms that often accompany these monsoons hit, the plastic prevents the ice from shattering the brittle bamboo frame beneath it. The adaptations extend straight into the home. When an environment stays perpetually damp, massive populations of rats are forced indoors looking for dry shelter and food. The biological countermeasure to this is simple but mandatory. Almost every household maintains a small army of domestic cats, deploying them as an essential security force to protect the family's winter food stores. Then there is the thermal challenge. Even with modern gas appliances available, locals heavily rely on traditional indoor wood stoves. The continuous ambient heat from burning timber is the only reliable way to fight off the relentless, bone-deep dampness that seeps into the walls. Even the civic rhythm bends to the rain. Schools run their morning assemblies entirely indoors, and navigating the slick roads with heavy-duty umbrellas becomes an integrated part of a child's daily uniform. From the tools in the fields, to the pets in the kitchen, to the fires in the hearth, every single variable of domestic life is meticulously calibrated to function inside a cloud. It is easy to look at the wettest place on Earth and assume the people here are just stubbornly surviving a miserable, waterlogged existence. But the reality is a vibrant, deeply rooted culture. The Khasi people take their name directly from the hills they inhabit, maintaining bright textiles and intricate beadwork that sharply contrast the gray skies above. Despite the geographical isolation and the steep language barriers for outsiders, there is an immediate human warmth here. A simple local greeting of Kublai, meaning thank you, is often enough to bridge the gap entirely. The core mechanics of human life,
raising children, supporting a community, and finding joy carry on completely unbothered by the atmospheric chaos passing overhead. We are often conditioned to look at the extremes of the natural map as hostile zones, places meant only to be avoided or feared by anyone with common sense. Mawsynram reveals the depth of human adaptability, our capacity to normalize extreme geography, innovate around environmental friction, and build thriving homes inside the eye of the storm.